So then we partnered with Whole Foods. So, we had started one little region in Northern California in 2014, and had done well enough that they decided to launch us nationwide in 2016 with the moringa powder. And then we created another line of wellness shots as well.
How did you first get a conversation going with Whole Foods? Like, because I've also had other guests say that to me, like, oh, I got into Whole Foods or I talked to Whole Foods. I mean, is Whole Foods just really receptive to new business conversations? Because they seem very friendly to at least to the guests that I've had. So where did you get in contact with them? How did that happen?
Yeah, I think Whole Foods is a great place to start as a small natural food brand. They are very open to innovation and they take pride of like having new innovative products on their shelves. So they actually have a forager program, which is where you're like, I think there's like eight of them across the country who are just their whole job is to like find cool new brands and bring them into Whole Foods Market. So I was somewhat lucky in the sense that we were, at these farmers markets doing all this research, and we ran into somebody who worked at Whole Foods who said, like, hey, check out this forager program. So I like went online and applied and got a meeting with the forager. He was like, this is really cool. We love the social impact. We love that it's like very unique. It's really different than any other bar we have on our shelves. Go ahead and get a meeting with the whole body buyer. So I got a meeting with, the whole body Northern California buyer. I was so nervous. I like stayed up all night, like making bars by hand. And then it was simply probably still like the best meeting I've ever had in the sense that we walked in. She had just seen Moringa on Dr. Oz. She loved Moringa. She had like deep dived on all the benefits. And she was like, oh, we don't have anything like this in our stores. We need it. And that was it. We're like, oh, okay, great. Um, Although there was a small catch. The thing that I had not realized is that she authorized us for all 50 Whole Food stores in Northern California. But then I needed to go store by store and sell it in because it was up to each store on whether they wanted to bring it in. So I spent a good part of 2014 driving literally from like Sacramento to Fresno all across Northern California, selling in these bars. And I would sell it in, and then I would stand there and I'd pass out samples and I'd talk to customers. And, I think when people think of like starting a company, they don't often think of like the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. But that was definitely my first intro was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Well, we're at where I call the point and click culture, where everybody thinks it's a couple of clicks on a keyboard and you launch your website, you launch your business, the money starts rolling in. And
Right.
you know what? Your keyboard can do a lot for you, but there is nothing like a face-to-face meeting, honestly, to really get people behind you. And you experienced that yourself. You found it at the farmers market. You found it having to go one on one with these Whole Foods people because guess what? People are still making these decisions. It's not all AI yet. And there's
Yeah.
nothing like having that personal relationship built. In fact, I'll tell you a little story about myself. So, many years ago, I used to run a breast cancer charity called Busted Foundation. And when we were doing
Mm.
certain fundraisers, I had learned that Whole Foods also had a charity outreach program where you could apply to be like the charity store of the day and you would get proceeds from that specific day. And I have several Whole Foods around me in the area because I'm in Los Angeles. And it was so funny because I went and met with all these different stores, and it was crazy just the relationships I was able to build with some people and then not with others. But it was still Whole Foods, right? So some of them were like, yes, we're on board with you. Here's, your day. Here's the proceeds. And others are like, no, that's not really, we're not interested in. So, for anyone that's like, again, listening out there, it's like, don't be afraid to go out there and meet people face to face and build that relationship because they'll become your biggest advocate, as I'm sure Lisa can attest to, right?
Totally. Yeah. And that's the cool thing, even today, 11 to 12 years later, many of the people that still work at Whole Foods like remember me. They remember me being the girl that came in and like chopped up bars and passed out samples. And they like love our brand because they're like, we love, we were part of you starting, we were part of you launching, and we love how far you've come. So I agree. It's really powerful.